Republicans, of course, the case, the argument would seem, are they going to argue that Trump is just better than Hillary Clinton, or so far the narrative to a certain degree has been mostly that you just don't want to vote for Hillary Clinton? In fact, take a listen to Chris Christie last night.
We cannot promote someone to commander-in-chief who has made the world a more violent and dangerous place with every bad judgment she's made. We cannot make the chief law enforcement officer of the United States someone who has risked America's secrets and lied to the American people about it day after day after day. Here it is, everybody. We didn't disqualify Hillary Clinton to be President of the United States. The facts of her life and career disqualify her.
Former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer has been a vocal critic of Donald Trump, but you also are going to vote for him, right, in November?
That's right. What I've said is there's a lot about Donald Trump I don't like, but I'll vote for him over Hillary any day of the week.
Now, Richard Goodman just made the Goodstein just made the argument that over the last couple of days we've heard more about Hillary Clinton than we have for Donald Trump. In other words, it gets back to the old question in politics: do people go into a voting booth and vote for someone or against someone?
Well, I've heard both at the convention. I've heard people who are talking about what's wrong with Hillary, which is legitimate, and I've heard people talk about what's right with Trump, which is legitimate. And I think people will vote for both. The people who voted for Donald Trump in the primary were attracted to Trump. They liked his outsider, populist message, the fact he's not like people in Washington, and they flocked to him in a way that nobody predicted. There'll be other people like me who are much more establishment, Washington-oriented types who don't really like Donald Trump's style, don't like some of the offensive things that he has said. But when you take a look at the choice you have in November, I was raised you have to make a decision and you have to vote. Not voting is not an option. I'll vote for Trump.
So it's not about the ideological stuff. In other words, it's for you, it's been more about style and delivery, and not the idea that, hey, for instance, the platform wants to bring back Glass-Steagall, for instance.
No, it's both for me, but what bothers me most about Donald Trump's candidacy is the signals that he's sending about being a welcoming and inclusive Republican Party. I just think in a changing America, he has got to show ability to win support and not offend people. When he said, I'll pay for your legal bills if you engage in violence, no leader should talk like that, and that's what unsettled me. But I look at what Hillary has done, how unprincipled, how dishonest, how reckless she is. And there's not a chance in the world I could support an unethical person like Hillary.
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying. It's one thing to be offended by someone, the way they speak in their style, and it's another thing to be offended by someone's actual track record. And again, with Hillary Clinton, people wonder, how do you become worth $100 million plus as a public servant? How do you have such a multi-decade-long track record of just somehow getting involved in these gray areas of the law and never having to pay a price for it?
That's right. And I will put the ideological element on top of it, too. Everything Hillary stands for is how to redistribute more money. Take one citizen and give to another. Donald Trump comes from the private sector. Donald Trump does understand job creation better than Hillary Clinton. He does understand capitalism, success in markets. And look how far to the left Hillary ran to beat Bernie Sanders. Ideologically and by temperament, Hillary is the wrong candidate to be president. Donald Trump by temperament gives me concern, but by ideology, there are things I differ with Trump on trade and particularly on entitlement reform. But when it comes to some core issues, I'm fine with Donald Trump.
Do you think there's time, because I think I've heard Reince Priebus and Paul Manafort both say sometime this week that there would be a deliberate outreach, particularly to Hispanics, but also to black voters? And I know in the past the Republican Party has grappled with that, the notion that it was somehow pandering. I just think it's like marketing any product. You want to sort of market it to everybody, but that's just me. If it was Coca-Cola, I would market it to every product in this country.
That's right. If you have good ideas, you want everybody, regardless of who they are, to embrace your good ideas. But what Trump is doing is growing the party in a different direction, and that's to blue-collar, working-class Democrats.
What they used to call the old Reagan Democrats.
That's right. And in this country, you win by getting a majority of Americans to agree with you. If it's not black or Hispanic, because he has a weakness in those areas, but he makes up for it.
But is there time for him to perhaps to have it all? Is there still enough time for him to maybe work and get it all?
Well, that's what a campaign will test. But I think Donald Trump's hurt himself sufficiently with minorities. Hard to come back there. He's going to have to win it with blue-collar, working-class Democrats.
All right, Ari. Thank you very much. Really